Hey there, happy Friday, fellow Texans. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. And I'm not trying to bum you out. I know, happy Friday. I'm not trying to bum you out on a Friday here. But how brutal is this story about Savannah Guthrie's mom being kidnapped and ransomed? And, you know, here's the terrible part. It's the hanging in limbo. It's the not knowing. Because her mom may already be dead. And it's, the closest experience I have to kidnapping is watching the movie Fargo. And maybe it's a situation like that where they kidnapped her and they accidentally killed her, but they can't let the world know. So they're still trying to get the money. And like I feel so bad for this woman. And someone brought up like her politics. And it's like, hey, notice how we're not dunking on her just because she's a liberal in the media that's always trying to slag our opponents and tell us how evil we are. It's like, man, I don't think anybody's even thinking anything about that right now. No, politics means absolutely nothing. The woman's missing her mom, 84 years old. And the story about she's on medication and without it, she's going to die. And now she's been missing for more than enough days for that to have happened. So is there even any hope here? And then who are these sickos, just evil and stupid at the same time, that are sending in the fake ransom notes? My God, it's like some people just can't get to hell fast enough. Here was the update this morning from WFAA.
Savannah Guthrie's family in the search for their missing mother.
We have to know that you have our mom. We want to talk to you, and we are waiting for contact.
Savannah's brother Cameron made a plea to anyone who might have their 84-year-old mother, Nancy. Investigators say it appears she was abducted from her home Sunday morning. The FBI says there has been no proof of life so far and that possible ransom letters were sent to at least 3 different media outlets.
So the ransom note that was distributed to the media did make a demand for 5 p.m. today. And if a transfer wasn't made, then I think a second demand was for next Monday. We're not going to go beyond that.
Authorities have arrested a California man accused of sending an illegitimate ransom demand to the Guthrie family. The FBI is now offering a $50,000 reward for information leading to Nancy's recovery.
Well, are we just surrounded by sociopaths? And I don't mean like half of us are sociopaths, but the amount of people who are even capable of doing this, you would think you'd have to be a sociopath or psychopath, which is only maybe 2% of the population. Strangely enough, 20% of the Fortune 500 CEOs, but like, how many of them are out there? Because if it's 2% of the population, we're a nation of 330 million people. So what? We have like 6.5 million sociopaths just wandering around among us. People that are capable of doing this. And then just on top of that, I am shocked at the fake ransom idiots. And it's not even because there's, people evil enough to do a fake ransom. We have people evil enough to snatch up an 84-year-old. Those people are far more evil. These fake ransom people are just stupid. And there's been multiple. There was this one guy who texted him, and the burner phone was bought from his debit card attached to his name. And the IP from which the wireless connected on the burner phone was connected to his house. So what an idiot. So we're surrounded by evil people on one side and just complete idiots on the other side. And this is just a terrible story. What if they never find her? What if the guys... Look, I hate talking about this logically because it sounds so coarse. But logically speaking, if you're a kidnapper, once you get the money, what's your incentive to give the person back, to give the old lady back? The old lady could tell you evidence that might help you find them. Wouldn't you be better off getting rid of her if they haven't gotten rid of her already? I know, it just makes me sick. Like, Miss Parker watches a lot of true crime. In fact, that's the #1 documentary or podcast category in the country.
Hi, Miss Parker.
And I'm usually not into that, but when it happens in real life, it just rips your guts out, doesn't it? 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. people who watch this more than I do, will they ever find Nancy Guthrie? When you watch these stories before, how often is there a happy ending or a satisfactory ending? And there always a bad ending to stories like this, and we just haven't gotten the bad news yet. God, that makes it even worse. I'm sorry to be such a bummer. I promise. I'm sorry to be such a bummer. We'll move on to more fun things here. But that one, if that doesn't get you, then you're just not paying attention. And I don't know. Coming up next, Trump RX launches. I'm cautiously optimistic, but with a healthy dose of skepticism, and I'll explain it next. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey there, welcome back. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. You're home for Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. They're coming up in just a couple hours from now. Three funny guys doing a lot of stories. The top story of the day is just brutal to talk about. Like, I don't even want to think about this because this is so concerning. Not that anyone is ever going to kidnap my mom and ransom her. I don't have enough money. Nobody cares unless you want a 20-year-old Stratocaster. That's about the best thing I have to offer. So it's almost like, well, you know, it's the spoils of not being a success. But are they going to find this lady? Because I think they just don't want to admit on TV. There's only a very small percent chance this lady comes out alive. And now we've got to all be drugged through the mud in this. This is terrible. Stephen Weatherford, you're on WBAP.
Good morning, sir. I would hope that the authorities are looking at every contractor and their associates that have worked on that lady's house over the last year gone by.
Yeah, and that's just a unsettling reminder of how we just flippantly let strangers into our house like that for contractors. I mean, the amount of trust that we put into the people who are doing our plumbing or our brickwork, or, you know, we talk about blue ribbon roofing. I'm not saying John Hopkins is going to hostage take anybody, but that's why when we talk about it, like on the commercials, you know, trusting the right company is important. You know, getting a local family company kind of important, but also, I mean, I'm guilty too. How do you know the guy that picks up your trash isn't casing you? How do you know the guy that's checking the gas meter isn't casing you? How do you know all of these people who are having to come in and out, delivering DoorDash, delivering Amazon, delivering furniture? Thanks for making it more unsettling, Steve. Appreciate it. Everybody have a good weekend. Thanks, Steve. Something else that is probably a secondary headline, but it's not as emotionally heart-tugging, but probably more important because it actually affects you. Trump RX, now a thing. Did you hear about this?
President Trump launches an online website that he says will help lower the cost of prescription drugs. It lists 40 medications at lower prices for people paying out of pocket, not through insurance. Patients with a valid prescription can download coupons from major drug makers. The list includes weight loss drugs, an asthma inhaler, and seizure medications. Medical experts say the savings are unclear and may only help some patients.
So I'll kind of agree with that. The savings do seem unclear, and it probably won't help everybody. Probably just help some patients. But notice how they have to put some caveats in there, so it just can't be something that, you know, people walk away with a good flavor in their mouth. They got to, let me stain it before I let you go. They didn't say that about Obamacare, did they? Let me tell you why I don't like the Trump RX website, or while I'm skeptical. It could just be nothing. It could just be room temperature water. But I am of the principle that for so many of these issues, this isn't about healthcare. This isn't about medicine. This is an economics issue. And another government program, another government website, another government deal isn't going to get you closer to the solution. From my point of view, getting closer to the solution means getting government out of healthcare. The more they've gotten into it, the less affordable it has become. Now, they've told you, well, we're going to make it more affordable, and it never ends up being more affordable. So the first thing I think we should do is repeal all the dumb stuff that we've tried thus far. Because if we are still proposing solutions, that means we're having problems with the healthcare system that are worthy of Congress addressing it. If you admit that, then you also just have to logically, down the algorithm, down the path, have to admit these previous interventions have failed. Why not repeal the previous interventions and see if the costs come back down? Why isn't that like even in the discussion? We have one side that wants to do universal health care. We have the other side that wants to just try a few new government fixes. Whatever happened to repealing Obamacare? Can we start with that? No, we can't start with that. Not because it's not the right thing to do, or it is the right thing to do. That has nothing to do with it. Now it's politically unpopular because you have a whole class of people who have gotten used to government taking money from you and giving it to them. And that really affects people's vote more than it should. But here we are. Same reason as we can't get rid of Social Security. Same reason we can't get rid of welfare. Those people are addicted to government taking money from you and giving it to them. And they will vote accordingly. And they will vote in greater numbers with more enthusiasm than you will. Because your livelihood doesn't depend on it. Theirs does. So here we are in the vicious downward cycle of socialism. And at some point, you're either going to keep going until you hit rock bottom, or someone's going to have to cut the cord. And I remember I was talking about this when I said, we got to get rid of Social Security. Some guy called in and he's like, you can't take away my Social Security. You're going to go in there and just take away the Social Security from millions of people. It's like, bro, I didn't rob the bank. I'm the guy who shows up after the bank has been robbed and I'm going, hey, this vault is empty. I'm not the one taking anything away. It's going to collapse. There's nothing magic about America that we can do socialism when it's failed every other time it's tried. So we've got to pull up out of this. Not a big fan of this Trump RX thing. And it might just be indifferent. And not to just slam it. I appreciate him trying. I don't think this is really going to harm anything. I don't think this is going to really raise costs for anybody. It might help a few people. But I'm more hopeful for a private sector solution. Like Mark Cuban right now. He's doing his cost plus drugs. I have more hope that is going to save people money. I bet it does. Because every time something is tried in the private sector and the government sector, which one has a better history of performing? The private sector. We should be pursuing more things like that. In fact, it would be cool to make an alliance because Mark Cuban is seen as one of the more prominent and reasonable Democrats out there from Team Blue. Man, if he teamed up with Trump, I know they have personal animus going back to 2000. That's what I would like to see, but I guess we're not going to get that. The thing that baffles me more is, I'll openly say I'm a libertarian. I'm not really a Republican or a Democrat, but I'm definitely on Team Red. I don't understand why more of my fellow Republicans aren't saying, hey, whatever happened to repealing Obamacare? We're just not pushing for that anymore. Where did that go? And it was just not even 2 months ago. There's one guy, there's like three guys in D.C. I agree with, probably Rand Paul, Mike Lee, Tom Massey. Rand Paul was just saying last month, why are we still doing healthcare subsidies? Why haven't we repealed these?
I haven't met anybody in Kentucky who wants to give subsidies to people who make $100,000 a year. Yeah. These subsidies give $13,000 to someone making $100,000. They give $1,500 to someone making $200,000 a year. This is not poor people. Look, we have health care in our country for poor people. It's called Medicaid. All of the rest of this stuff has not worked. Obamacare has been a failure. President Obama said it would bring premiums down. Premiums gone through the roof. Every time we give more subsidies, the premiums go higher.
That's what I want. I'm not saying Trump's wrong. I'm saying he's not going nearly far enough. Number one thing we should do right now is in any healthcare dollar that goes to illegal immigrants. It is insane that we continue to fund that. And I'm not saying if they show up at the hospital, we shouldn't treat them. We treat them and then give them the bill, not me, not you. And if we can't do that, we're not even trying. Number two, we need to repeal Obamacare, the whole damn thing. And I know most of you aren't ready to go all the way down the constitutional founding fathers rabbit hole with me. But at the end of this, if you really want to get things back under control, you got to end Medicare Part D. You got to end all of Medicare. You got to end all of Medicaid. You got to end all government intervention into the healthcare system. The only thing government should have to do is make sure you have a stable currency, a system of weights and measures. And if someone defrauds the other one, there's a system of courts where you can sue them or charge them with crimes. Other than that, back off. What would you do to fix the healthcare system? Are you optimistic about Trump RX? 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. I do like the name Trump RX, though. I like how he just puts his name in everything. You know, it's like the Trump Kennedy Center now. It's Trump RX. It's the Trump bonds for kiddos. If I ever become president, I'd probably do the same thing. We'd have Parker RX. 800-288-9227. We'll continue talking about your healthcare next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP. Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I am your host, James Parker, and we're talking about healthcare because today Trump has Trump RX now online. So there's a new government website to where he says you can go save money on a handful of medications, and I don't know, this is probably not going to hurt anything, but this is not the healthcare solutions I think we need. I think, number one, if you want to bring down prices for me, you, everybody else, we have to end healthcare for illegals. That seems like to be a no-brainer. I bet you most of the country agrees with that. And I'm not saying in giving them healthcare, stop us paying for them. Give them some sort of incentive. And make all I'm asking is to give them the bill. Just like if I went to the hospital, I would get the bill. Stop giving them special treatment. Give them the bill too. I think a no-brainer would also be to repeal Obamacare. But I'm telling you, that's soft pedaling it for me. If I had my druthers, if I got to do everything I wanted to do, not just what's politically popular or feasible, I would end all government intervention into the healthcare system. I would stop any practice of socialism where we take money from you and give it to somebody else, who wasn't a government employee or soldier or something to that effect. And then I think I have someone telling me I'm wrong on the phone. RL in Cleburne. Thanks for calling in. You're on WBAP.
Well, James, I wasn't telling you were wrong. I was telling him, your screener, that I thought you were being really naive.
Oh.
The reason being is, and you named 3 politicians that I think if we had 50 more of them like it, we might get something done. I think that the nation itself is so corrupt, both sides, so corrupt, that we're already on life support. When we can give billions and billions and billions of dollars to the war in Ukraine, to the nation of Israel, whoever, and we can't take care of our own people, there's something tragically, not just a little wrong, tragically wrong. When our rights are being usurped by illegals, by corrupt politicians, it just does. People like you and me are not violent types of people, like the people in Minneapolis are getting paid to be violent. We're not like that. We're working every day. We've got families. We've got things to do and things to take care of. And that's what they count on. They count on honest people to work hard and do the things that they do, not to deviate. And they don't worry about us because they know we won't go crazy. But one of these days, and I don't want to see it, I don't want to be part of it, these things are going to break. And it's going to be all hell breaking loose. And I'm not prophesying or anything like that. It's just a writing on the wall because there is so much corruption on both sides.
Yeah, I think we all see the corruption. I think we all see that there's something inherently wrong with the fact that 80% of the country would like a voter ID law, and we can't pass the SAVE Act, even though we control all 3 branches that are required to pass legislation. Like 80% of us agree on a few things that just aren't happening. And no matter what happens, no matter who gets ahead on the abortion debate or trans stuff or any of these other goofy social issues, we're still running deficits. We're not balancing the budget. And I think that's the biggest thing that affects all of us. But I never, RL, what would your solutions be for the healthcare situation? What would you do?
The first thing I would do would be stop federal grants from going into research for everything under the sun. I would stop the grants immediately. I'll give you an example. Any of the cancer, some of these research studies that are going on at Harvard and all these different other places, we're paying for all that. And then we have to pay again when they find a cure or find the reason to make good medicine or something. It's our dollars that are already paying for
RL,
it.
that's such a good one because I hate hearing the people saying, he's cutting funding for cancer research. It's like, no, we shouldn't be funding cancer research. Is that supposed to get me to say, oh, well, let's spend more money on cancer? Like we're not going to research cancer if we don't do it through government? What
people are just the most dangerous thing in the United States of America, in my opinion, are not the politicians. It's all these emotional people out here that don't know the first thing about the Constitution, don't know about the first thing about history, don't know the first thing about anything. They don't give they don't give a you know what, and all they want is instant gratification. They want their cell phones. They want to be able to do what they do with their kids. They want to pay any attention. Victor Davis Hanson wrote a book 2 years ago called The Dying Citizen. It went straight to #1, but the New York Times and Amazon held it back for like 2 weeks because they knew when it came out it was going straight to #1, and it did. And it's talking about the responsibility that we have as American citizens not to say, just like Kennedy, not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Now, if we don't start getting involved, like the Democrats get their people involved, but they pay them, if we don't start having a conscience about what was going on, we can't bitch and moan when things go to hell.
Yeah, I agree to that. I'm a little more optimistic than you. I think, with the coming of AI and the fact that we have the internet and people are getting better at doing research just on their own, the truth is going to win out. Like, I was never really worried about the trans situation because people can say, well, men can have babies or they should be able to play in women's sports. And I can say, no, they can't. And if they don't listen to me, the results are going to be self-evident. Like, it's not an argument you can lose. You can't really lose the argument that capitalism is better than socialism. You can't really lose the argument that the nuclear family and traditional values are better for society than just free love and having baby mamas and not doing a family and having split homes and all that. We see what works and we see what doesn't. And it's not really an argument we can lose. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. If you have any ideas on what you would do to fix healthcare, or if you want to tell me why I'm wrong about Trump RX, 800-288-9227. 9227. Coming up next, we're going to do some quick flashbacks on what was said about healthcare that may give you a good idea of where we need to go forward from here. And then also coming up after that, I've got to do an update on the Dart Dallas situation. Dallas is getting a little nervous about people jumping off a dart, metaphorically speaking, and they're trying to sweeten the pot. You'll hear all this coming up next. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP. Hey there. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP, your home for Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. And I didn't mean for everything to go so pessimistic here. Look, we started with the top story of the day is the Savannah Guthrie search for Savannah Guthrie's mom. I mean, I can't spend a whole lot of time on that without just absolutely ripping my heart out because I'm not a sociopath and neither are you. But probably the second biggest story of the day, because something that is going to affect all of us at some point, Trump RX has launched, and this has re-sparked the national debate on how do we fix our healthcare problems? How do we fix and the healthcare problems with healthcare itself? It's just with how to pay for it. Our doctors are doing great. Our survival rates for cancer are through the roof. We're coming up with new breakthroughs left and right. New procedures, new technologies, new robotics, new drugs, new nanos, new whatever, gene splicing, artificial limbs, Neuralink. The healthcare part of healthcare is doing great. A lot of times when we talk about air quotes fixing healthcare, we're talking about the economic side of it. And for this one, this is a no-brainer. Don't we all agree with the sentence, capitalism is better than socialism? So why don't we just remove all the socialism from the healthcare sector and see what that does first? And if I'm wrong, you can go put it all back on, but I'm not going to be wrong on this one. Because our problems with paying for healthcare started when the government started getting involved. We could all afford it somewhat before the government got involved. But the more money government throws at it, the more expensive it gets, which means either you're getting some of that money and you can't afford it, or you're paying for it on your own and it's even harder. So it creates this whole class of people to where your ability to get your healthcare cost covered depends on if you're in one of these special plans. Are you in an employer plan? Are you a government employee? Do you have health insurance? So now we've got a wicked system that is far divorced from the free market, and it has not helped cost one bit. Can we just try repealing that? And can it just start with repealing Obamacare? Whatever happened to that? Here's what people used to say when it comes to healthcare spending. Number one, can we get rid of the healthcare for illegal immigrants? That definitely drives up costs.
Across public hospitals in New York City, a quarter of the patients are now migrants. Over the last year, nearly 30,000 visits by migrants and 300 new babies born to migrant moms. Staff here at Bellevue Hospital tell us they're eager to help, but the numbers are tough.
So every time illegal immigrant comes through, gets health care, skips the bill, you're paying for it either with your tax dollars, or if the hospital has to eat that cost, you pay for it when you go get your health care. And it used to be not a controversial position. Let's go back to the 1990s. Hillary Clinton was on board. No medical care for illegals.
As to illegal aliens, we agree with you that we do not think the comprehensive health care benefits should be extended to those who are undocumented workers and illegal aliens. We do not want to do anything to encourage more illegal immigration into this country. We know now that too many people come in for medical care as it is. We certainly don't want them having the same benefits that American citizens are entitled to have.
So if I'm on one end of the economic spectrum, the other end of that economic spectrum is now the mainstream position for the Bernie Sanders AOC wing of the Democrat Party.
I believe that the United States must join the rest of the industrialized world in guaranteeing health care to all people as a right.
So let's go back to an interview that was done like 25 years ago. The lady that was being interviewed was growing up in Austria when Hitler took over, and he was voted in. It's not like he invaded them. And she talked about all the policy changes that happened when the fascist, the literal fascist, took over, when literally Hitler took over. Now, I don't want any government intervention into the healthcare system. Bernie Sanders wants nationalized healthcare. What did literally Hitler want?
Next thing, what happened, he nationalized our healthcare system. We had a reasonable good healthcare system, which was financed by private insurance. We had good hospitals, we had good doctors, and everybody was reasonable well being cared for. This all changed very fast.
Your grandparents didn't have health care insurance. When your parents were growing up and they broke their leg, their parents would take them to the doctor and they would get like a menu and know how much it's going to cost. And they would either pay for it right there or they would set up a payment plan. And that was it. You didn't have to present your card. You didn't have to have, oh, this card's expired. Well, what's the new plan? I don't know. Well, let me look it up on my phone real quick. Well, can you just get me the account number and we can look it up over here? And then you got to file the paperwork. And instead of the doctor just being a doctor and a nurse, now they got to have like 4 people on the side who just handle insurance paperwork, and they file and they got to talk to them. And then there's someone on the insurance side of the company that has to receive the paperwork and process it. And you have to pay for all of these people's salary just between you and the doctor getting a cast on your kid's leg. How is that better? How does that make it cheaper? Because here's the truth. None of these subsidies or programs ever make anything cheaper. They just transfer the cost to someone else. And if that cost is overall higher, then we all lose. That's what we're facing here. And it's not fun. It's not sexy. It's not fancy. It's not as heart-tugging as Savannah Guthrie's mom story. It's not as popular and cool as the Super Bowl, but this affects all of us. You're going to need healthcare at some point in your life. Unless you just have perfect health and one day you get hit by a bus or a meteor falls on you or something, you're going to have to buy prescription drugs at some point. You're going to have to go see a doctor for something at some point. Why not have the best system set up? Why not make it cheaper? Why not push for that? Why not at least end healthcare for illegals or healthcare subsidies for illegals? And why not repeal Obamacare? Can we just start there? You don't have to agree with me all the way on we need to get all government programs out of healthcare, but can we just start with the basics? Coming up next, I have a beautiful story where Dart sounds afraid. Remember in Super Troopers when Doogie Howser got up there and he put his hand on that big bug and he said, "It's afraid," and everybody cheered? Well, there was a meeting in Dallas yesterday about Dart. Dart's afraid. Why? Because there's about 5 suburbs that are thinking about jumping ship this year, and they're trying to sweeten the pot so they'll stay. You'll hear the begging next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.
free!
Dart is afraid. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. Hey, wake up. Happy Friday. Come on, y'all. I know we're kind of bummed out by the news about Savannah Guthrie's mom. Will y'all stop putting this on TV? Good Lord. Look, I'm going to bring you some more positive news here. And the fact that Dart is very afraid. Dart's on the chopping block for 2026. It's one of the things I'm most excited about this year. The one program I think is the biggest boondoggle in North Texas history, the biggest waste of your money, the biggest flushing of your taxpayer dollars down the proverbial toilet has been Dart. It's been the most overt, embarrassing failure that you've seen your entire life. And it may actually be getting, not even cut, just trimmed a little bit. I'd just be excited if any of these towns pull out and spell the end of Dart. Because, like, James, why do you hate Dart? Well, first, I do hate Dart with the hot heat of 1,000 suns because it's such a terrible idea and it's such an embarrassing failure. Well, what makes you think it's a failure? There's 200,000 people who ride Dart on a regular basis. Oh, yeah? Well, when Dart was voted on in 1983, they promised you, the voters of North Texas, that by now there would be more than 450,000 riders a day. But the crazy part is, in 1980, 3.4% of commuters rode Dart. Since we've started Dart, since we've thrown billions and billions and billions of dollars and tore up all kinds of good roads and eminent domain parts of town and caused all kinds of traffic jams in this place where people get shot and raped and mugged, and 0.6% of commuters in North Texas use Dart. It's gone down. They promised there would only be a few dozen employees. There's 3,800 employees. You were promised 93 miles of rail by 2025. 147 miles of rail by 2010. We have 93 miles of rail as of now. It was supposed to never take on debt. $3.8 billion is what now you have to pay interest on top of all this. So, yeah, huge embarrassing failure. Can't die fast enough. And this latest report from WFAA shows Dallas is afraid. They actually think that they might lose some of these sister cities. And so they're trying to change the rules and sweeten the pot a little bit. I love this.
Good morning, Erica. Well, as you can see, we are on the Green Line Dart train right now, started at Farmers Branch, which is one of the cities that is considering leaving the agency. And one of the reasons why next Wednesday.
I don't know what time this report was, but the train's 100% empty. There's the cute reporter and the dude holding the camera. But other than that, there's not a soul to be found.
The Dallas City Council could vote on whether or not to give up its majority on the darts board, all in an effort to keep some suburbs from leaving the agency altogether. So the February 23rd deadline is quickly approaching for when cities have to finalize ballot language if they want voters this May to decide whether to leave Dart. Cities like Plano, Irving, and Farmers Branch are already lining up those votes, and that's why Dallas is making this move now. Currently, Dallas holds 7.5 seats on Dart's 15-member board. Under this proposal, the board would expand, making it so every member city gets a full seat. It would also drop Dallas's share down to about 45%. Supporters say that's a meaningful concession and could be enough to keep suburban cities at the table, at least for now. But there's still debate at City Hall over whether Dallas should give up control when it pays the most into the system and has the largest ridership. And then there's the biggest unresolved issue, the 1% sales tax. That's the core complaint from the suburbs, and this proposal doesn't touch that at all. So the question now isn't just whether Dallas gives up power, it's whether or not they're making this move soon enough and whether this move goes far enough to keep those votes off the May ballot.
You know what that says to me? Dart's afraid.
It's afraid. It's afraid!
Look out, celebratory gunfire. That's so dangerous. So, yes, isn't that delicious to hear? Hey, if anyone is listening in any of these suburbs where you're going to be voting on the demise of Dart, please vote for it to die. Please withdraw from Dart. And don't replace it with anything. You know, when you cut out a cancerous tumor, you don't tell the doctor, can you put another tumor back in there? Cut it in this silly failed experiment. Again, how many times do I have to say this in one show? The solution to get from point A to point B, or to help other people get from point A to point B, or help poor people or elderly people, the private sector will do better than the public sector. You know who's giving more poor people rides than DART? Your local taxi company, Uber. You know why? Because it can go from one point to the next point. The problem we have with DART is it's not even a problem with DART. It's not like if you put the proper people in charge of it, it would still be a success. It's going to fail. It's socialism. Socialism fails. And they have this in every city. In every city I've lived in, they talk this is dumb public transportation fantasy, right? What is the deal with that? You ever ride public transportation? It's terrible. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. I wouldn't wish that. Well, I would wish it on my enemies, but I wouldn't wish for my kids to grow up and ride DART. Think about it. What happens when you have to go to the grocery store? Now, for all of us with cars, which is the overwhelming majority of the country, the car is not just a vehicle. It is also a freight carrying machine. And if you can't put, a couple of 2 liters, maybe one of those big 24 packs of water, and then you've got the heavy laundry soap and the detergent that goes with, or the fabric softener that goes with it. You have all kinds of just heavy groceries. Can you carry that home? Do you want to carry that home? You're just going to have bags stacked up on your arms while you're getting off the bus and transferring to the train, and then transferring off the train and getting on another bus while it's 104 degrees, or while it's 44 degrees and raining. Is this how you want to spend your life? It's terrible. It's terrible that we've just keep repeating these dumb mistakes. And if anybody just gets anything out of the show, please make DART die. And don't replace it with anything. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. Coming up next, some ICE protesters are going viral for all the wrong reasons. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP. Hey there, happy Friday. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. You're home for Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. They're going to come up here in about 45 minutes. Stick around for those three funny guys. Bring you a lot of stories you don't hear anywhere else. Viral video of ICE protesters. You're going to love this. We got some ICE protesters on camera saying the N-word with a hard R. I mean, they're really sticking that R. It's shocking. So let me paint the picture for you. There's an ICE agent, and he's a brother. He's looks pretty tall, like kind of 6'3"-ish. And his face is partially covered. I think this was in Minneapolis, but everyone's wearing like coats and stuff, so it's somewhere up north. And these people are, you'll hear it. But one of the bleeps you hear is him going, "What the F is wrong with you people?" And you would think the people out there in the media who are so hypersensitive about any utterance of the N-word that comes from a white person, you'd think this would be really hard for them to just easily dismiss or ignore. So I just want to keep playing this like over and over. And are you sure you're the good guys? Are you sure you're the good guys?
So how does it feel abducting people taking from the family? Not good. Good about yourself. Yeah, families should be ripped apart. That kind of energy. Like we should rip people apart from their families.
Are you a man?
Wow, is that a question? Wow.
House Sir, I need to move your house. KKK.
What's with you people?
Did you understand that? I know it's hard because there's stupid whistles and there's four people talking. But these guys that were getting in his face, when we talk about having noodle arms, I mean, like, they look so skinny that, because you can kind of see, like, the wrist or whatever, they look like uncooked spaghetti. Like, these are the least threatening guys. Like, even if they full on punched you in the face, it wouldn't affect you. You'd be like, that's it. And so they're not threatening. So the ICE officer doesn't even look worried, and rightfully so, even though he's surrounded by like 4 or 5 people. But they call him the house N-word. You know, they're following him around. Is this what you do? You think it's good ripping families apart? Huh? You think it's right ripping families apart? Is it you're just ripping families apart? And he looks at one of them and goes, "Are you a man?" Because it really is. I mean, it's up for debate. It's 2026. You never know these days. It's a legit question. I don't even think it's an offensive question in 2026. I think you're supposed to ask, right? Aren't you supposed to ask for people's pronouns or whatever? And when he says, "Are you a man?" they're like, "Are you serious?" And they start calling him a house N-word. And then he just looks at him and he's almost laughing like, "What the F is wrong with you people?" Listen again. See if you can pick it up. "You like ripping families apart? Is that what you like doing?" And then they call him a house N-word twice.
So how does it feel abducting people taking from the family? Not good. Good about yourself. Yeah, families should be ripped apart. That kind of energy. Like we should rip people apart from their families.
Are you a man?
Wow, is that a question? Wow.
House Sir, I need to move your house. KKK.
What's wrong with you people?
You hear that then? What the F is wrong with you people? Dude, that was the N-word. That was white guy saying the N-word. Are you a house N-word? Hard R. He's not quoting his favorite Jay-Z song either. He was, as a pejorative, as an insult, as a racial slur, calling a black man that to his face. Where's the condemnation? Well, where's all the people who lose their mind when a magic set of syllables comes out that's just completely unacceptable? And we've got to ruin Michael Richards' career. Who isn't he going to be on the show Monday? Garrett can, yeah. But speaking of N-word with the har R, he's doing a comedy show. We're not going to ask him about the N-word. But here it is. Ignore it. Go ahead and ignore it. We all see it. Or those of us who are online too much. We all see it. We love it. It's another great double standard. What are you guys worried about? Again, I think these guys are afraid.
It's afraid. It's afraid!
Yeah. I don't know if they can win this battle. And when I say battle, the battle in the court of public opinion. I think they're losing. And I'm not sure if they can catch up. as it stands, we were just talking about this the last 2 days. The polling on this is kind of amazing. The polling on this is, I mean, even better than you would expect. Again, when we talk about voter ID, it's north of 80%. When we talk about how Trump's doing with deportations, those poll numbers are still good. Batya Unger Sargon was a guest on CNN talking about these polls.
There's a new Harvard-Harris poll that came out January 28th to 29th, and it found that Donald Trump's approval is down overall. There's only one issue that he's above 50% on, and it's responding to anti-ICE protests in Minneapolis, where he has 51% approval. 73% still support deporting illegal aliens who committed a crime. And as I've been saying on the show for a year now, 52% support deporting all illegal migrants. There was a Signal poll that found that 61% support deporting all illegal migrants.
All right. Coming up next, what are you doing for the Super Bowl? Are you watching it at home? Are you going to a friend's house party to watch it? Are you going to go to a bar or a special event? Is your church having a watch party? I think First Baptist Buck Tussle might be having a Super Bowl watch party. We've done that before. I don't know if we're doing it this year, but if you're doing something cool or something spectacular, share. You know, if you're having a house party, but we're going to do this thing where whoever loses the bet has to jump into the pool, and, you know, it's freezing because it's February. Let me know, 800-288-9227, because we're going to do a little Super Bowl preview coming up next. And one thing I like about the Super Bowl preview time is when the local news, and I'll play this for you next, WFAA did a pretty good rundown of the players who are from here locally who are making it to the Super Bowl. And it's a good chance that, you know, if you have the empathy, you know, you're not a sociopath. If you have empathy and it drags you down when you see the story about Savannah Guthrie's mom, or the horrible shooting in Balch Springs about the armored car driver, or any of the other negative stuff in the news, the war, the blood, the guts, the disaster, the famine, whatever. Be sure to glom on to stories like this that are positive, that give you a reason to think, man, even someone who just shares an adjacent zip code as me is having the time of his life right now. Magical things can come from these little small towns that some people overlook. I mean, when's the last time something amazing came out of Miso Forney? Because isn't that where one of the guys is from? Anyway, we'll talk about that coming up next. But I do want to hear about your Super Bowl plans. I mean, I'm probably not going to be able to go. I already have somewhere to be this weekend. But tell me about your plans. 800-288-9227. Y'all got fireworks. Y'all got a party bus. Y'all have a boat party. You're going to string them all together on the lake. What are you doing for the Super Bowl? I want to hear. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP. All right, where's the party for the Super Bowl? I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Is someone doing something huge? Is someone going to have like a projector where they put it on the side of like the Hoover Dam or the side of Monty's doing that? Monty's doing because my brother-in-law will project stuff on this. Yeah, cool, thank you. On the side of his garage, and I think that's the coolest thing. He has a projector. But I'll give you my Super Bowl preview. I also want to know, where's the party? Is someone doing something awesome? You're going to have like an ice luge or something to that effect? James, North Richland Hills. Where's the party this weekend? James, what you doing for the Super Bowl? Or whoever your name is. Hello. Man, we can hear somebody there too, right? Did he put the phone down? Put it in his pocket? Did he think he hung up? Because if someone's having such an awesome party that they want to call in the radio show and tell about it, I want to know where it's at. I can't go. I already have obligations. But all right, call back. I thought you wanted to talk. I wanted to talk. I know. Look, I think I might be the only Team Red talk radio host that's actually excited about the halftime show. I know. You like Bad Bunny? Yeah, I like Bad Bunny. He's fine. Oh, yeah, but he's like a communist. He's like a socialist. I'm like, yeah, so are all my favorite artists. What are we supposed to do? Just have Ted Nugent every year? How many times can you cart out Lee Greenwood? Not exactly like hip and contemporary and whatnot. I mean, we would have like 12 musicians to choose from. I guess, you know what is actually reasonable? Nicki Minaj. Can we get her back out there? Because I think she's already been on stage at the Super Bowl just for other people's. Because she's featured on so much stuff. But last year it was Kendrick Lamar, and I know a lot of people and Team Red didn't get it. I don't know these guys. I don't care. It's not even real music. They're not even playing instruments. Look, all legit criticisms. But the dude was rapping about how Drake is a pedophile and how there's an international ring of elites that fly out to islands and do kids. I mean, it's right on target with what we talk about. And here it is a year later. Isn't that kind of a relevant topic? And it's also just funny because that's like the ultimate we've ever seen the rap beef go. You know, when two guys have a problem and they make songs about each other. I wish they did that in country music. Can we get country music beefs? Can we get like Morgan Wallen saying, yeah, Florida Georgia Line probably make out when they get drunk or something? You know what I'm saying? And they insult each other. I think that would be so fun if it happened in the country venue. You can say Luke Bryan sings like Kermit the Frog or whatever, because he does. I'm Luke Bryan. So, yeah, I'm excited about the Bad Bunny thing. And it's not that I really am that much into his music, but he is a guy that kind of keeps showing up in different places. And everything I see, these little bits and pieces I like. Now, I think the song that most of us would be familiar with, like the most popular one, isn't even one of his. It's a Cardi B song, and he does the bridge on it. And I like it like that. You know, they redid the old Dave Sanborn song. Wasn't that one with Dave Sanborn? Whoever did the original, sorry if I got it wrong. But this is... So, here's Cardi B. Don't worry, it's clean, Garrett. See, she would have said a bad word there. And then here's Bad Bunny. Look, you don't understand what he's saying, but he gets about 30 seconds here. And then it goes back to Cardi B. But you probably heard this. They play this in stadiums. They play this when you go to the bar. They play this in the background when your kids are playing video games sometimes. I think this song was on Fortnite for a while. Or might still be. I don't know. That's where I know some new music from. But Bad Bunny, his own music, super duper popular in the Latin world. And he does what I wish country artists would do more too, is they do features everywhere. Wouldn't that be cool if they did that in the rock world? You know, like Eddie Vedder's going to do this song, but instead of Chris Cornell, it'll be Eddie Vedder with the Soundgarden behind him. Or maybe like he just comes in and like the Smashing Pumpkins will do like a whole song, but then Eddie Vedder will just step in and do a bridge. I love that. Well, they do that in the Latin world, even with their country music, and they'll mix genres. So like there's a big band out there called Grupo Frontera that's just huge in the Spanish world. They were here at the American Airlines Center last summer. They packed the place. They sold out. There were people just hanging out in the plaza. They're from Texas. So this is kind of Texas music. And it's just country music, but it's in Spanish. It's the same type of music. If you like country music, add an accordion. That's what this is. And they sing about the same stuff. Oh, I'm just sitting here looking at your photograph, missing you. Oh, my heart breaks thinking about you. Can't think of anybody else. Yada, yada, yada. Repeat. But Bad Bunny, who's typically known as more of a rapper, kind of a pop star, will show up in these country songs too. And it's actually pretty good. And you can't get away from it. And then you start to like it. And then you're like, okay, well, like if you ever worked in a restaurant or like on a construction site or in proximity to Mexicans, this is what they're listening to. Tequila, something or other. You don't really know the words, but you kind of know the melody. And it dawns on you like, and as far as popular music goes, even for the songs that are in English, you don't know half the stuff they're saying anyway. It's not really that big of a barrier to listen to their music. And the biggest song that he probably has, that's his song for the English-speaking world, is one he did with Drake. And Drake's doing Spanish in this. So it's another song you might have heard, Mia. This is Bad Bunny and Drake together. But it doesn't stop there. Bad Bunny has hosted Saturday Night Live twice now. And you're like, how can he host Saturday Night Live when he can't really speak English? Well, it's tough sledding. But they get him through it, and they do a couple of skits that are in Spanish to kind of help grease the tracks, and they've written entire skits around him. He's actually pretty good. He's actually pretty likable. And some of the skits are pretty funny, like we will still be laughing at them in 5-10 years. And then, I can't get rid of this guy. You know, one of the fun parts about having kids that are young is you get to show them all the best movies in the world, you know? So I got to show them last year, hey, here's this awesome classic, one of the best movies ever made, Happy Gilmore. And some people were laughing at that. You thought I was going to say, like, The Godfather or something. So we watched Happy Gilmore, and I swear, like a week later, it was announced that there was going to be a Happy Gilmore 2. So we were all excited about Happy Gilmore 2. Bad Bunny's the caddy. Bad Bunny is Oscar next to Adam Sandler, the classic character of Happy Gilmore, and he was so funny in that. So no, I'm kind of excited about the halftime show, and I don't care if I'm the only right-wing talk show host that is. Sorry, can't pretend to not like Bad Bunny just because his politics are terrible. But buck up, it'll be pretty good, it'll be fun. And if you don't like that, just switch over to the Turning Point USA. They got Kid Rock and probably Lee Greenwood and I don't know, Nicki Minaj needs to do it. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about the Super Bowl. What are your plans? Are you having a big party? Are you having some big gimmick at yours? Are y'all having, is there a big bet? Does someone have to wear like a bunny suit? By the way, Bad Bunny, he don't speak English, but his name's in English. I do not have a good answer for that. 800-288-9227. Let me hear your Super Bowl plans. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Y'all ready for the Super Bowl this weekend? I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. You're home for Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins, which, if you don't watch the Super Bowl and you're not a football fan, we're still going to talk about it on Monday, but we're not going to talk about the X's and O's and the plays. And we'll talk about the commercials. We'll talk about the halftime show. We'll talk about the politics around it. But I would like to hear it if you have any special plans, 800-288-9227. I'm laughing over here because just something so stupid. It's funny, but it looks so stupid. So Garrett's World is coming up on the actual James show this afternoon at 3:30. The James show's on from 2 to 5. Garrett's World will be at 3:35. And Garrett's always used this picture to promote it on social media. He took a picture of himself in front of a WBAP sign over here in the hallway. And it just says, it's the same post every week. Be sure to tune into the Garrett's World. And so to spice it up, I took the same picture he always uses. I put it through a AI filter and I gave him cornrows. And so he looks like, I don't know, prison Garrett or ghetto Garrett. And I asked his permission before I put it out there. So now I shared it on social media. And the caption's pretty stupid too. It says, "A fresh Garrett's World drops at 3:35, yo." And it just looks so dumb. Like, thank you for letting me use it. But if you want to see, I don't know why it's funny, but if you want just something to make you laugh on a Friday, just go check out the picture of AI Garrett with cornrows. It's hilarious. It's like he went to the barber and he's like, "Do my hair like Snoop." It's Snoop Garrett. It's you got to see it. Go to the WBAP Facebook page, WBAP Twitter/X, whatever the cool kids are calling it, and I promise you will laugh. All right, WFAA had a great report for the Super Bowl that's coming up on Sunday. There's a couple players who are your neighbors, and I always love hearing these stories about how just some guy who grew up down the street is now about to have the greatest weekend of his entire life. The biggest sporting event in America, and you can't help but be happy for him.
It's a dream every high school football player grows up chasing. The biggest game, under the brightest lights. And in just a few days, this dream, it'll become a reality for 9 North Texans.
Everybody in this town is rooting for him.
I think more proud than anything else.
One of the most anticipated matchups could feature 2 DFW standouts. Seattle Seahawks wide receiver Jackson Smith-Njigba and New England Patriots cornerback Christian Gonzalez.
2 receiver set play.
Before the NFL or college spotlight.
One-handed catch, corner of the end zone, touchdown Rockwall.
Njigba was lighting up Friday nights at Rockwall High School, snagging more than 5,300 receiving yards and 82 touchdowns.
He never had to coach effort, never had to coach attitude with him. He showed up and brought his best every single day.
But his coaches say what stands out most, even now, is the man off the field.
He is a superstar, but he's still the same Jackson to all of us. He still takes pride in being a Rockwall Yellow Jacket.
The other DFW native that could be lined up across from him on Sunday went to high school just 45 minutes away.
He's quiet, but he doesn't play like that.
Christian Gonzalez is now one of the league's top defenders. But his former coach Rudy remembers the first time he saw him in the Colony jersey.
Sure enough, that first game, he goes off from the start. He returned punts, kicks, he did everything.
And it's that impact that still echoes back home.
It helps a ton that he constantly comes and visits. He's always up here.
So while it's no secret who each coach is rooting for this Sunday, they can all agree on one thing. No matter the outcome, these 2 players and every other North Texan taking the field are already making this region proud.
Man, that's so cool. That, like when you see someone from your hometown that's in the Olympics, it's kind of the same feeling. Like, I don't care what you're doing, whether you're rowing a boat or playing football or whatever your chosen activity is, your chosen goal is, you made it, dude. That's amazing. Now, the Winter Olympics, not a lot of Texan representation in the Winter Olympics. We get snow like once every 4 years. So, of course, we're not going to be in close proximity to the nearest bobsled. But yeah, super excited for those guys. It almost makes you get emotional on their behalf, seeing these guys. But Jimmy Fallon had a Bad Bunny joke just, 3 months ago? Of course, see how time sensitive this joke is. This was back in November.
The big story is today in Washington, the House voted to release the Epstein files. Yeah, and if the day couldn't get any worse for Trump, halfway through the vote, there was a performance from Bad Bunny. And this is...
Yeah, so that was when Bad Bunny was announced to be the halftime show. And there seems to be a little concern here because Bad Bunny was just at the Grammys last weekend and he said ice out. And of course, he's a lefty and he's going to think ice out. I mean, the guy's 31. He's been a millionaire his entire adult life. He doesn't live the same lifestyle you and I do. I mean, it's almost hard to take anybody serious who can't go to the grocery store. Does that make sense? Like that's one of the few complaints I have about Trump. You know, you and I can go to the grocery store and have the normal experience. Bad Bunny goes to the grocery store. He can't make it through the produce aisle. People will be like, holy crap, that's Bad Bunny. Oh my God, here, come take a selfie with me. Oh my God, I love you. Oh my God, I've always wanted to meet you. Or oh, my kid loves you. Or here, take another selfie. Or people just pull out their phone and start recording them. Anybody start recording you when you're picking out cantaloupes? So Bad Bunny, of course, in the little fantasy world that he has lived in, is going to be a lefty. If you don't like the music, do the TPUSA. They're doing the alternative halftime show. But it's not going to be as bad as everybody or so many people think it is. And it's not really a good look if you're trying to win over Bad Bunny fans. And you should want to. Don't let them see and you hate on the guy. Now, you can disagree with him. Oh, his politics are terrible. His music's not my type of music. But other than that, you know, a lot of people seem to like him. Go have fun. Don't be so negative about it. I don't think that helps the cause very much. Or if you want to start liking Bad Bunny, go work in the kitchen of a restaurant or work on a construction site. Those are the two places where is the genesis of almost all of my Latin music background, my Spanish music background. Just go swing a hammer for a few weeks. Tell me you don't like Grupo Frontera or Peso Pluma. It's impossible to not like them. But we'll review it all coming up on Monday. I'll be back in 3 hours to do the actual James Show from 2 to 5. Stick around. Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins is coming up next. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.